All right, so I wanted to do a quick update on yesterday's trade idea and just to kind of show you what's happened. So what's happened on the daily, prices managed to break through. So again, if you were using the bigger picture entry, which is an entry on the candle breaking out and then your stop loss below the swing low on the daily, you'd still be in the trade. MACD is trending higher, so it's still nice and bullish, not a problem. But what actually happened yesterday, let's just enlarge this so we can kind of see what's happened. This was the idea, so if I just move it to the right, price was sort of sitting at this point yesterday, and I was looking for a retracement to test this level for support. It continued throughout the day, found a minor level of resistance, broke through the level. You can actually, what's interesting here is that while it's trying to break through this level, I know that there's these little numbers in the way, but just imagine that price is attempting to break out and fail. You can see the MACD starts to trend lower. So it's a failed kind of breakout at that point. It then comes back down. And then during the US news CPI data that was released yesterday, at this point it produces a bullish engulfing candle. So yes, what you could do at that point is, it's a different, more advanced way, but you could enter on the candle stop loss below the low, so you're getting in for a different reason. But the idea was to get a retracement back to this level or to this level. Anyway, so then what happens is price continues up. So it's not necessarily an efficient way. And this is, then we have a bit of a retracement down, and effectively this is where we are now. So we are stuck within a range at this point in time. I'm just going to frame the range so you could see it. And this is where we are. So price has not come back down to this level or to this level. What's interesting is that today's pivot level now sits at this level of support and resistance. So there's a second one in here, which is these previous highs. So what does that mean? Does it mean that this original idea is not valid? Technically, it is still valid, meaning that price could come up back down to that level or to this one, or back now to this one. So we have a new level where we could do that. Alternatively, we would do a consolidation breakout. So what does that mean? It means, again, it would be a breakout entry above the high, stop loss below the low. Possibly a safer way to do it would be again, stop loss below this low here. So there's different ways of getting in and out of ranges. Some people wait for an actual breakout candle, then they look to get in on the entry. Some people wait for 3 candles, because if it doesn't come back within 3 candles, it's not a failed breakout, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, other people, other traders will just wait immediately, just place the entry above the high of that range, and if the MACD is looking nice and bullish, they'll just get in on that. So notice the momentum is there. Okay, so in this particular case, what can we do? We could do that in entry above the high. We could do this, but before we go any further, what I want to do is take one more look. I'm going to teach you another little tip now about price action. So let's go and look at the daily. So here's the thing. Daily candles, or candles, tend to overlap. Okay, so you've got the high of this candle, the low of this candle, and the next candle actually overlaps a little bit. It comes down here before it continues on. The next candle comes down before it continues on, and so on. So what I'm looking for today is the possibility for, this is yesterday's breakout candle, which is the result of that breakout that we were waiting for. This is today's candle. What could happen is it could come back down and continue up. So let me just draw in what could happen. We could find that it that this candle ultimately looks something like that before it continues on. Okay, so what I'm looking for is the possibility that price could come back down, and where could it come back down to before it turns around and goes and then carries on up. So let's go and have a look at it again from this perspective. Excuse me. And so again, what that does is when you see the candle that I've drawn in, we potentially get a pullback to this level over here versus these levels. That seems to be a little bit far. If we pull the candle down to that level, what does it look like on the daily? It's possible. It's possible that we could get that this next candle could go all the way down there. It's possible. It's more likely that it'll probably just come back up to, or come back down to this level. Okay, so again, in a way, what I'm going to do now is I would copy across that idea. I still believe that the chart has the potential, because it had a big move yesterday, it's actually consolidating. Instead of just retracing, it's consolidating, and it will potentially either break out and then come back down and then continue up, or just keep going. Okay, so sometimes the markets will consolidate as opposed to, or instead of, retracing, so that they can recoup the energy that they've spent getting to where they are, and then they can carry on up. So that means, for example, if you look at a stock, if a stock is very bullish and it is overextended, instead of doing a retracement, it'll consolidate for a period of time and then just continue on up, which is where bull flags and consolidations and pennants and everything come from. So at this point, all of these setups here could just technically be moved to these 2 levels here. So instead of these 2 levels, it would become these 2 levels here. I could wait for that to be the case. And again, remember, I'm looking at maybe looking at 10 different trade setups on other charts as well. I'm not just looking at this stuff here. But let me just pause this and then update everything quickly. Okay, so this is it. I've taken out the little double bottom. It could still happen, but just keeping it cleaner here. So I could be looking for a move, break down to here at a continuation, or pull back to here and a continuation, or alternatively, simply a consolidation breakout of that range. Okay. And again, they could just break out, retest, and keep going. I would prefer pullback. Most traders would prefer a pullback because it gets us in at a better price, and then we start going into profit a lot sooner. And so it's very nice for price to have it's kind of like buying something at a discount or buying it on sale. It's always better to get it if the price is reduced a bit. And so that's what I'm really looking for. So again, I'm just going to keep this as a rolling exercise to see how price ultimately plays out. Right now, forget about whatever else is happening here. This is really what my expectation is for price to come back to these levels, and we'll see what it does. And it's Friday, of course. So what could be annoying is that price comes back down to this level today, get in on the trade, and then it starts going off, and then it's kind of the end of the day. And because it's a 15-minute trade setup, I potentially want to consider closing it out before Friday. There's always a risk on over the weekends that gapping could be a problem, and that's really a problem when you're getting in on a trade on the 15-minute, 5-minute, or 1-minute. Not so much on the daily, not a problem. Not so much on the 4-hourly, but definitely on the lower time frames. So let's see how it goes. If there is an actual update by the end of the day today, I'll record another one, and hopefully you are finding this instructive and useful. Thank you.